Well, you've joined me today very close to the Shimano Experience Centre on Lake Mass. The main reason why I'm here is to talk to you about the longer rods in the AERO X7 range. For this style of fishing, whether you're on a commercial or your open water reservoir or a lake where we are today fishing, targeting big bream, big roach, big carp, at distance, these are the tools. Distance fishing has become so hugely popular throughout Europe. Feeder events everywhere, everyone's gone feeder crazy. And we felt as a company we wanted to develop something special. And here we have it, the AERO X7 range in the distance. There's three rods. You've got the AERO X7 12 foot, the AERO X7 13 foot, and then we've got the AERO X7 distance heavy power. I've been lucky enough to be involved in the development of the whole range, and especially these. So let me just run through the key points to these rods. For a start, we've used high pressure carbon, and that means we've got away with the thinnest blank possible for the use of these rods. As we all know, when it comes to distance fishing, the lighter the rod, the more compression you can get out of the rod, the quicker it responds and reacts after the cast and straightens up. That's so important, which minimises resistance as the line is going through the runners. That alone adds a massive distance to your cast. So today, for example, I'm using the 13 foot distance. It's not the power, it's just a normal 13 foot. I'm using a 10-pound shock leader to braid, and it's absolutely perfect. So whether you're fishing a conventional feeder with a tail for bream on your local reservoir, or you're more on a commercial style lake wanting to fish at distance with a method feeder, they're suited for both styles of fishing. The beauty about these rods as well, they're balanced perfectly. So today I've got it with an Ultegra XTC 5500 reel. So that means when you're actually going through the motions of the cast, you can feel the weight of the feeder behind you. It allows you to compress the rod correctly. They're just the perfect tool. We've used Kagan guides to aid the responsiveness of the carbon. The lighter the guides, the more responsive the rod is, the quicker it straightens up on the cast, and it aids your casting and improves the distance that you're targeting. The interesting thing is with these rods, I can't believe how far they can actually cast. I casted with this rod over 135 metres with a feeder, not with a bomb. It's all right having a rod that casts a distance, but you also need that play in action, and that's exactly what we wanted to achieve. So whether you're using braid for bream, or you're on a long distance commercial where you're catching carp on a method feeder at distance, you need that play in action. So if you hook a skimmer or a carp, the rod copes with both styles of fish and sizes of fish as well. You're going to get less hook pulls. And in order to achieve that, what we've done is we've used spliced in quiver tips at the end of the rod. So they come with 3 tips. Obviously to cope with the different terrain that you may be faced with. Heavier tips, medium tips and lighter tips on all of the rods. This means, for example, today, Lake Mass, chucking at a distance, I might have to cope with a lot of undertow water movement, so I'm going to be using the 3-ounce tip. Now, by using a spliced in tip, has minimised the weight at the end of the carrier section, which is the area of the rod during the cast that needs to straighten up as soon as possible. That aids your casting, makes reaching a distance far easier, and that's exactly what we've achieved. Minimal weight at the end of the rod has maximised the rod's potential. Now, I'm not on about the distance, I'm on about the ease. So that means when you're looking at distances, which is why you want to use these tools from 80 metres and above, 75, 80 metres, it just makes your casting so much easier. As well as that, it's not always about distance, it's always about terrain. So for example, we're on Lake Mass today. I spent a bit of time plummeting up. I've got a lovely level bottom, like 75 metres out. It's not a long chuck for this particular rod, but I need a long rod to get over the shelf. There's a shelf about 35 metres. So often, using a long rod, it isn't about chucking as far as you possibly can. It's to deal with the terrain that you're faced with. I need to get, when I hook the fish, over the top of that shelf, and a long rod, whether it's a 13 or a 14 or a 12 foot, enables me to get in control of that fish, get it over the shelf and possibly land it. Moving down the rod as well, we've done a lot of work with the cosmetics. As you can see, it's a really stylish rod. So down there, the handle got a lovely reel seat. Now that's really important when you're casting. You need your hand in place. It can't be moving at all. Everything's got to be locked in place. And as you can see, the reel seat is absolutely perfect. We've used some EVA sponge here at the front, and the middle section is cork again, going down to EVA at the bottom. Now, the unique part to this rod, one of the key aspects to this rod, was during development, we found that by putting a mini extension in the actual rod, aids the compression of the rod and makes it easier to cast that further distance. And trust me, when we've tested it, it added an extra 15 meters to the cast. So when it comes to the actual casting part, where the rod is behind you and you're ready to cast, there's a longer length between the reel and the butt. So that means you can get a more powerful forward motion compression of the rod during the casting action. That aids the cast no end. So there you have it. 3 fantastic rods within the range that are suitable for all styles of fishing, whether you're on a commercial or you're natural water fishing for bream.